What's going on, Tamers? It's your boy Varney, and today we've got another meta snapshot for y'all. Today, we're going to be talking about the TAC March online regionals that happened this past weekend for the Oceania region. But before we jump into the video, I just want to give a huge shout out to Eggman for eggmanevents.com, where all this information is hosted, and you can go see it right at this very moment. And also to Risu the Squirrel for getting this information together to give to Eggman to put up onto the website. And then one last shout out, we hit 5 YouTube members. That's pretty freaking awesome. I'm glad that people are enjoying the membership and the perks that come along with it. This video, unfortunately, is going to drop almost immediately. There's going to be like a 1-day viewing period for YouTube members, but we do have videos scheduled out. We try to have videos scheduled out for about a week, sometimes up to 2 weeks in advance. So if you guys want to see those videos early, go ahead and join the YouTube membership. The link will be in the description below. We appreciate the support. It helps us get better equipment for the channel, as well as get other cool stuff that all of you guys will love. I know it. That being said, let's get into it. TAC Oceania, 126 players, 7 rounds of Swiss best of 3. This happened on Saturday, March 23rd. You can see that 4 Sovereigns has taken the event. That is right, and it's not just one list in the top 16. There are 3 lists in the top 16. Now, one thing about the Oceania region, I know I've heard in the past a lot of people discredit Oceania. They're like, oh, well, that's just like a 126 player event, like, or Oceania this, or even Latin America that. And you cannot discredit a region for what that region does. This is 126 players. You know, we have 16 player tournaments for the TBL. This is 126 players. Sometimes events cap at 128 over here. A lot of times you'll see 256 or something, like some odd number like 312 or 384. But I think any event over 64 players, you cannot discredit those results. These are big results. These are players who put the time into testing their decks, and each and every one of these players deserve recognition for going the mile, especially because it's a best of 3. Darren piloted 7 rounds of 4 Sovereigns undefeated. He won a minimum of 14, a maximum of 21 games. You cannot discredit that. So we're going to hop right into it. We're going to take a look at not only Darren's list, but also Mark's list and Michael's list, so we can get all the 4 Sovereigns right out of the way. Now, I know we've gone over this in the past, but we're going to go over it again because all 3 of these players deserve recognition for their list. Darren, first of all, for winning the event with 2 Genai in his list. I absolutely love Genai or Genai or however you pronounce it. This is a card that it synergizes so well with the 4 Sovereigns deck. It protects that until your opponents finish their run attackings. Then you can bring it out with Genai's effect and be able to blast into any one of your 4 aces, all of which are super strong. We also see a big change in the Black Deva ratio here. 4 Synduramon, which is your decoy, and 4 Katuramon, which is your blocker. All of them have blocker as the inheritable, so this is obviously a very refined, very, control heavy, maybe not control heavy, but definitely a lot more on the defensive side, trying to stave off some of the aggression and also some of the deletion from things like Leviamon, right? Another big thing, considering that we have Leviamon, this is the Mother D Reaper egg package, meaning 4 EX4 Antilamon is a lot, but obviously Darren was like, I just want to see Antilamon. I want to get that in raising because I want to take my 23k checks, and if I have 3 or less security, I'm going to recover 1 at the end of that. And it's still this Antilamon is such a good offensive and defensive piece, obviously, because offensive with Mother D Reaper, you're swinging 23k 2 checks, you're swinging over almost everything in the game. And it's also just a really good defensive piece because, again, it enables all of your sovereign, maybe not Baihu Ace, but all your other sovereigns that are very disruptive. Now, my big thing here is 3 Holy Beast Great Cardinal position. This is something I feel like most decks run at 4 just because you want to see it so you can play your Fang Long Sheeper, but I can understand why you would run it at 3 because it's a brick in hand. If it's like early game, like you just want to see the 1, maybe 2, and then you're good. So I can definitely understand seeing this at 3, especially if you feel, you want your 4 Antilamon, you want the bigger Black Deva ratio. But 2 Analog Youth is also very weird for me to see just because, I mean, the deck doesn't have any other search power. Like, yeah, sure, you have just hard draws, and sometimes you have the Digivolve off the Deva, but this deck isn't like searching. Like 2 Analog Youths is just, it's a really small amount. Well, there's Loyalty Deeper than the Sea, I can't forget that. But between those 2, that's 6 search cards out of what's going to be a 40 card deck. So it's like, damn. But, Darren took it all the way to first place. So props to Darren. As you can see, like, it's a very refined list. It's very personal, Darren, and I love it. You know, Gen I, this is the card that makes Davis the deck that I'd love to play. So congrats, Darren, on first place. Next up, we've got Mark in third place with his Sovereigns deck. Now we see Mark is running the purple egg package. He's not running the likes of Tapirmon or Fascomon. He's just running 2 Gazimon for the memory blocking and 3 Ukomon. The big thing there is that, I mean, of course, Ukomon's going to accelerate your package because you raise, you gain a memory, and if you want, you can hatch an egg. But I just find it interesting because it's something that I would run around the Fascomon, because with Demi Mirror, when you die, you're basically a draw 3 trash 2, in the way that Demi Mirror is an on deletion. You trash level 5 or higher and you draw 2. And then with Fascomon, it's a draw 1 trash 1. We see Mark just went for Gazimon so he could get rid of any memory shenanigan decks, or try to stop them for a little bit, as well as the Ukomon. So very interesting there. Another big tech here is Mega Gargo Ace, which I would absolutely not expect to see this in Devas. This is why I love Ace cards. Ace cards have added a whole new dimension to the game that make it, oh my goodness, like what could my opponent have? You know, it gives some interactability on your opponent's turn, and it makes you think before you necessarily perform an action. Mega Gargo Ace in this deck is huge because between your green and black Devas, we have a total of what, 2, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 8, or actually 10 because of Antilamon. I didn't see the Mihiramon here. So that's 11 sources. It's just such a disruptive piece because it's got blocker and reboot. It's going to suspend 2 of your opponent's Digimon or Tamers and then prevent 2 of their Digimon or Tamers from unsuspending or digivolving until the end of the turn. Just an insane piece. Of course, we've got Merciful Mode because, well, I guess why not, right? I mean, Fanglong isn't the only level 7 we need. Let's run Dexmon so we make sure that we're not dying to, you know, hyper aggro, go wide decks. And then also Merciful Mode so we can screw up apparently the mirror match since there are 3 in the top 16, but also purple decks, right? Of course, Mark is running 4 Analog Youth, 4 Holy Beast Great Cardinal position. So just a very consistent deck. Mark took it all the way to 3rd place. Congratulations to Mark. And then in 8th place, we've got Michael's Sovereigns. Big thing here is the inclusion of Crimson Blaze and Hero Amanokawa. Hero is a memory setter. It allows your Sovereigns and your Devas, if that matters, to be bigger so that they don't die to security as easily. Because, I mean, I have seen all of these Sovereigns die to security at 12k, and you might not want that overflow at times. You're like, damn, if only I was like 1 or 2k bigger. Hero lets you do that, lets them swing at 14k, which is really nice. But the most importantly, it provides a red source, number 3, for your Crimson Blazes. And your Crimson Blazes say, you can't play Digimon by effects, which is big against the mirror match, and it's big against this go wide meta. If you play the Demi Mirror eggs and you play those lower end rookies, you're always going to fall prey to Leviamon because you're generally always going to have a rookie for them to play out. And that's very detrimental. If you can prevent yourself from getting a rookie into trash, that's good for you. But then those cards become bricks in hand. Whereas with these lists, I mean, hard drop and also what are they going to do? Delete it? All right, cool. You're just filling trash for Fanglong. And when Fanglong comes out, Leviamon can't interact with Fanglong. They have to run Rivals because Ruin Mode can't even do anything to it. Fanglong is unaffected by your opponent's Digimon effects. So Fanglong literally says, unless you have Rivals, you're not doing anything, buddy. It's just insane. I love 4 Sovereigns in this meta. I'm very excited to start playing this myself. Congratulations, Michael, on 8th place. Next up, we've got Reese's Mega Gargomon list. Now, Mega Gargomon, this... Oof, what a list. I think we should start referring to this deck as Double Typhoon, to be honest, though, because in my opinion, my honest opinion is that as the meta goes on, we're going to see a lot more. We still have all of April to get through with this format. I think we're going to see decks adopt the Bunny Dog engine, and they're going to run it in these green decks, and it's going to make some of these green decks just a lot more viable. There's so much flexibility in what you can do with these decks. I'm not surprised at all to see Mega Gargomon up here. Mega Gargomon is such an insane card, and this deck facilitates Mega Gargomon better than any other deck, simply because Mega Gargomon does Digivolve 5 from a Rapidmon, but it's also a Blast Digivolve. So the moment you put a Rapidmon on field, which is your entire champion and ultimate lineup, your opponent has to fear the Mega Gargomon play. And if they're not prepared for it, well, then they're screwed. You've got your starter deck 17 Rapidmon. When it becomes suspended on the main body, you get to neg 4 to 1 Digimon. So just for attacking, you essentially get to delete like a rookie, sometimes a champion, and decrease security Digimon, which makes this kind of like an 11k swing. But if you're over the Terriermon here from the starter deck, that's like a 12k swing. That's insane. This is such a good card. Level 5 Rapidmon. that is an on-play and when digivolving to de-digivolve one of your opponent's Digimon, and then if you have a green tamer in play, why you can't be deleted, you cannot be bounced, which is insane in this meta again, because when this comes down, you're like, damn, they probably have a Mega Gargo Ace. I should not swing because I cannot interact with this Rapidmon right now unless you have DP reduction. Speaking of DP reduction, can we ban Heaven's Judgment? This card is so insane. It's neg 6k for each color Digimon you have. So it gets the base neg 6k, and then you activate it again for each color you have on field. In this deck, you're generally going to be doing neg 18 because of the dual colors here. But this card really becomes broken, in my opinion, with Magnamon X because it's a 3-color Digimon, which means inherently it's doing neg 24k, which is just so insane because Magnamon X is already doing insane things. It already can't be touched. It did not need Heaven's Judgment to help it. I think this card should be banned. Maybe that's a hot take. Maybe we'll talk about that on podcast. I don't know. But 1 Heaven's Judgment here and 2 Giant Missile. Giant Missile is an insanely good option card. It's suspend one of your opponent's Digimon and then bottom deck one of their suspended Digimon, and then one of their Digimon cannot unsuspend until the end of their turn. So this is not just removal for 8. This is removal and a half. This card is now removal plus. I get to remove something plus interact with something else on your board, which is just insanely good. Of course, we've got our 4 Double Typhoon here. Double Typhoon is your new searcher. This is why I believe the engine of this deck will be used in other things, because Double Typhoon is so good and so generic. It's just it's reveal top 3, add a green Digimon and a green Tamer. Its delay effect is you may play a Tyramon or Lopmon from your hand. Other spicy inclusion here, Fire Rocket. Your golden armor Rapidmons are armor forms. Sec +1 on your Rapidmons. Sec +1 on this Rapidmon. I kind of wish he was playing more Lopmon. I understand why he doesn't, but I kind of wish that he was, because good lord, if he was playing the 4 Lopmon, Fire Rocket on this Rapidmon with Lopmon, 3 checks, negging security Digimon, that would be just so insane. Props goes to Reese for his 2nd place finish. What a good showing there. Now, next up, we've got Red Hybrids. So let's go over all of our Red Hybrid list here. So first up, we've got Ramon with 4th place Red Hybrid. Biggest inclusion here is the Gatsumon. When Red got access to these can't play Digimon players, can't play Digimon by effects, I was like, damn, they didn't need that. They had Crimson Blaze. Now they got Crimson Blaze and Gatsumon in the same deck. What have we come to? Also, the inclusion of BT6 Flamemon here is really big. One thing I noticed when I was taking a look through these lists, all of them are playing the 1 of BT6 Flamemon, which is really interesting because it gives piercing. I've never really seen an instance where I've seen Red Hybrid need piercing, but these players obviously felt different, and it worked for all 3 of them. This is something, obviously, you know, your Gunimon or your Aldamons, if you're digivolving and raising, can gain piercing for sure, but obviously the inclusion here is for your Warp Takuya play. You can tuck him right under, and now your Emperor Grey has piercing. So if you block, that's fine. I'm still going to do like a minimum of 3 checks. If I Atomic Inferno, that's 4 checks. That's just strongs. This is, if I was to play Red Hybrid, I never would. But if I was to play Red Hybrid, this is where my list would be at. Sans Gatsumon, maybe. I personally would run 4 Atomic Inferno. And I'd run a removal option here. And I also might max out on Ukomon, just because Ukomon is also insane for the deck with the Koromon eggs. I'd also run 5 eggs, personally, just because of Ukomon. But if you're only running 3 Ukomon, it's probably fine to just have the 4 eggs here. So big props to Ramon out here for 4th place. Next, we've got Luke in 10th place with his Red Hybrid list, where we've got the 4 Ukomon. And the Garuda Ace, which I also do really love in this deck, because if you swing trying to get rid of one of these by swinging over it and you don't expect the Garuda Ace is a big thing to deal with. If you're swinging with something that has blocker inherently, Garudamon's going to get rid of it. And then, of course, it is 7k, so it does get slightly bigger, and it plays you a free Tamer. It's just really, really good. I hate to say that about a red deck, but here I am saying it. Props to Luke for his 10th place list. And next up, last, we've got David in 11th place with his Red Hybrid list, running the 1 of Old Emperor Grey. I still find value in this Emperor Grey because for the opponents who don't suspect it, like my good old co-host Dan, now granted, the person who's playing against Dan with Red Hybrid only had, or he just happened to have more BT7 Emperor Greys at the time than BT12, but like against Machine Dramon, it's like, cool, you can block if you want. I'm going to unsuspend and gain memory. I don't know why. I don't know why they made this card the way that they did. It's like, cool, I'm going to take my first swing. You block. That is completely fine. I'm going to swing again. Like, this is such a go for game card. This is the equivalence of Blitz Omni, because this also has Blitz on main body. So this warps, this combos very well with Warp Takuya, and that when you do the warp play, even if you pass turn, you swing. Oh, they blocked? Cool, I'm gonna gain back, I think, a 5 memory, 1 for each hybrid. And then I'm gonna swing again. So it was game either way. I do love the inclusion. If I was to play red hybrid, I would most definitely include that as well. We've got the 3 Atomic Inferno here. David opted for red Mem Boost instead of Gravity Crush, which is interesting. I know you probably want to see your pieces, and that's probably why the inclusion is here like this. Me personally though, Gravity Crush. Like, I would play this straight aggro, straight I'm punching you in the face and I'm gunning for nothing else, right? And then the one Gaia Force, because hard removal. Why not? You got to deal with that Venusmon. You let a Venusmon stick on board, and then your opponent drops Black Seraphi, you are screwed. So definitely the way that I would run this for sure. So props to David for 11th place. Now, next up, we've got Tristan in 5th place with Alphamon. This is their standard list since Doro Grey got hit, since BT7 Doro Grey got hit. The big thing here is that, and why I believe that Alphamon always would be like a rogue pilot-oriented deck, because defense training makes this deck really good. Before, with the memory boost, you used to get, you know, whenever a memory blocker would come out, you'd be screwed because, damn, I gotta get rid of a memory blocker now. With defense training, it's like, cool, well, I'll Digivolve for free, or if I'm already at this, that's fine. I'll just Digivolve here, I won't gain the memory, but I can Digivolve into this for 1, then I can Dex Digivolve. Now I can start gaining memory. And of course, you know, you've got Cool Boy at 4, you've still got the Yuji, one of. I would probably run that at 2, but I know anybody who plays Alphamon has been playing that shit out of their list. So obviously it's a very highly tuned, highly refined list. We see the inclusion of 4 Sunariza and 2 Final Zubagon Punch. These 2 cards are what offsets the loss of Doro Grey. Sunariza gives Sec +1 to your 13k or more Digimon. Final Zubagon Punch gives 3k DP, and then if your Digimon is 16k or more, it gives Blocker Reboot Sec +1. So you're typically doing this on an Oryukin. So your Oryukin, especially if you've built over Sunarizamon, you're going to be 22k on 3 checks with an unsuspend, because you'll probably have the Oryumon in stack. Oryumon is really good in this meta. I don't know if enough people realize that. Oryumon against Leviamon, like when you come up against Leviamon, when you see that Leviamon deck come out, you're like, all right, forget about everything. I'll just go into Oryumon and I'll win game off the backing of Oryumon. Because Oryumon's big thing here is whenever you tuck a source underneath, it gains 2k DP and it can't be deleted by your opponent's effects till the end of their next turn. So when you do this on your turn, what is your opponent going to do? What is Leviamon going to do? They can't touch this. This is untouchable. Alphamon here, BT13 is strong because it has a protection effect against even the likes of Chaos Degrade. The big thing here is it's a once per turn, so you have to make sure you have something that's lower level to absorb the deletion for this. Even because if they do Levia X, they're not touching you. They have to do 7th Lightning with the Levia X to be able to delete you, and that's going to be fine. So it's really just the EX5 Leviamon that you have to worry about if this is your only Digimon on field. Now, Congo's always strong. Congo just stops Numemon from playing the game partially. I don't know if anything in Numemon, I think they're like Waro Manzemon. Maybe Manze X might be 8k or play cost 8. But this prevents their entire low end from swinging. So that's really strong. And then of course Protoform. I do really like Protoform in this deck. Your entire deck, well, except for Sunarizamon, is X Antibody. So you're gonna Digivolve for 1 less. You can definitely always use that. Big congrats, Tristan. Good job. Next, let's go over Leviamon X. We've got 3 of those lists. First up, we've got Alexander in 6th place. Can I call these lists like somewhat standard at this point? Like, this is about what we've been seeing. Goblimon is, you know, it's a come over from the Anubis time, you know, the short period of time that we had Anubismon. It's just going to gain you a memory whenever you trash a card, which is strong because that's what you want to do in this deck. This deck is like Anubis in that you need to see your pieces. I don't know why you'd run Psychmon. I can't think of anything that like I'd want to play Psychmon for. Maybe just to say, like, in case I come up against the odd blue flare matchup or something else, I have it. I'd personally rather run 2 Giamon. We see he's running 3 Gazimon. He said, I can gain memory, but you can't. And I don't mind that. I think that's a very strong power play here. But Rush Giamon is just so important because a lot of times I find that when you swing with Leviamon, you can do your 2-3 checks, or if you're over Cerberus X, you get in all those checks, but you just need to finish game. Rush Giamon helps you do that. 4 Wisdom, 3 Purple Mem Boost. That's where I'm at because, again, you need to see your pieces. I love the ratio of 3 Bite and Crush, 2 7th Lightning because I never find, like, I always find that this card is in my hand being a brick. At least you want to trash 7th Lightning. But you generally don't want to trash your Bite and Crush if you don't have to. So I like the inclusion of 3 of that. We see Alex is on 3 X antibody here with a ruin mode to say, after I've deleted your board, I'm going to lock you out of your turn. You know, something I alluded to earlier to Surbex. I love Surbex because comboed with X antibody, this card is a draw 1, trash 1, but it also lets you play level 3 or lower from trash, which lets you play out all of these. You want Gazimon back? No problem. You want a Guillemon back? You swing with Rush? No problem. But more importantly, the inheritable, by deleting one of your other Digimon, you unsuspend this Digimon. So 6 checks Leviax, 4 checks Leviamon. That's just really freaking good. Really freaking good. As far as the level 4 lineup here, we've got the 4 Garurumon, 4 Dober X, 1 Octomon, 1 Guru X. Just straight draw, just straight gas, straight draw, because that's what you need. So congrats, Alex, on 6th place. Next up, we've got 7th place with Sean. Sean is running a little bit of a spicier list. And I say spicier because, well, first of all, here's Beelzemon X. I mean, why not, right? If you're going to be drawing and trashing as much as you are, and we see he's doing a lot of it, you might as well take advantage of the fact that you can end up with 10 at least, if not 20 cards in trash easy, and just, you know, off your X antibody, because it does require you to have either Beelzemon or X antibody in source. Off of these 2 cards, it allows you to just strip away 1 or 2 security. It makes your Leviamon swing so much easier. There is an Impmon in this deck to play out if it does get deleted, so that's important for sure. I do love the inclusion of Gabu X because this card reveals top 4, adds 2 with not only Garurumon, but it's Garurumon or X antibody in their names to your hand. And if you added 1, you trash 1. Big thing there is that this card pulls your X antibody option cards. It pulls your Beelza X, Levia X, Surbex, Dober X, in addition to your Garuru pieces, which is super important. I really like this list because this is my main rookie. I love my Gabu. Gotta love the Guillemon. I love the inclusion of this Impmon that I can return any of these 7 Great Demon Lords if I feel the need to. Labramon for returning my Dober or my Surbex, and then Goblimon, because why not gain some more memory? And then, of course, big thing here, no Warosudramon in sight. Just 3 Dragomon and 3 Surbex. Saying Dragomon facilitates my plays the way that I need it to. I don't need to do the when attacking, especially if, you know, Devas, like that's the big thing against Devas. That's dead. Dragomon isn't doing anything in that matchup either, but that's why I like Surbex. It's like, all right, screw it. Instead of that, I'm going to build on Surbex. I get to draw 1, trash 1 if I put X antibody in source. Then I also get to play out a level 3. Now on attack, I can also unsuspend. So really strong there. Congrats, Sean, on 7th place. Next up, we've got 15th place Will's list. Will also on the Beelza tech here. So just 3 X antibody, the same 3-2 ratio we saw earlier, and kind of the same. The Will's list is kind of a hybrid of the previous 2 lists that we've seen. All of them running Ruin mode because, I mean, Ruin mode is just an insane card. It's just an insane card. I don't even have to say anything more about it. Running the 1 Surbex with the 3 Warosudramon, the 3 Dragomon like earlier. And yeah, like I said, hybrid of the earlier 2 lists. Will, congratulations on 15th place. Now, moving on, this one, we've got 9th place Machine Dramon piloted by Alex. For Doraemon, you're playing Machine Dramon, you want to see your Doraemon. This Doraemon is kind of like, it's the key part of Machine Dramon. When you tuck a source, you get to gain a memory. But we also see a 3-3 split of Hagurumon and Kokuamon. Kokuamon is from BT14. It gives you a blocker inheritable. Hagurumon gives you a reboot inheritable, but it's also a searcher. Searches top 3 for a machine or cyborg trait Digimon and a black tamer card. So it searches out your analog mans, which is big in the absence of BT11 Machine Dramon, which honestly, I don't really like BT11 Machine Dramon either. So I am happy to see lists moving away from that. So only 13 level 5s we're looking at here. We've got DP gaining. We've got this Megadramon. This Megadramon is so good. Reveal top 3. You add a machine, cyborg, or SOC trait as its bottom Digi-Evolution card. Add 1 to your hand and trash the last one. And then when attacking, you don't have the Marvin in here, so when attacking doesn't matter. But the inherited is when attacking, you just de-Digivolve 1. I can only assume this is why he ran Metal Mamemon at 2 and this at 3, because this is such an insane combo. Because your turn player, you get to sequence your when attackings. Megadramon, de-Digivolve, Metal Mamemon, pop play cost 5 or less. Insanely good. Also, these all trigger off of Mega Gargo Ace, which is a machine trait Digimon. I think every machine list should be playing 1 Mega Gargo Ace, if not 2, because now you make your deck even more feared. Like, it's like, oh, they just got a level 5 out. I got to get rid of it before they go into their Machine Dramon. I can't touch them. No, because they could ace you at this point. And sure, yes, your opponent can deal with the ace, but what are you going to do when they Mega Gargo you and you're like, damn, that shuts off my whole turn? Like that, it's just so good. Mega Gargo over Metal Gray here for Sec +1. You got Rapidmon and Metal Tyranmon that gives you your trashing inheritables. Mega Dramon for Sec +1. You got this is EX1 Mega Dramon. You've got the BT9 Mega Dramon that pops Tamers or Digimon play cost 3 or less. You got Metal Gray. This is such a good Metal Gray because it lets you swing into unsuspended Digimon. Keep in mind that this Mega Gargo Ace, I didn't mention it before, but it has a when Digivolving and an end of attack that you may unsuspend it. So if you take a swing with any of these and then you go into this, you can unsuspend and block. But even more importantly, over this Metal Greymon, because it is black and Mega Gargo Ace is black, you can swing over something and unsuspend and then swing over something else. And if you've built like, it's just so good. I love the inclusion of this. We see, like I said, no BT11 Machine Dramon, just 2 EX1, 2 Chaos X, and 4 Chaos Dramon. This is not a card you need to see all the time. You really can just build off the backing of Chaos Dramon. If you're going to come up against the likes of Leviamon, then yeah, you don't mind Digivolving Machine into Chaos X, or hard drop the Machine into Chaos X, so that you now have your 2 instances of protection. That's just really strong. There we got 2 Supreme Connection. Supreme Connection, your new search card for the deck. Love-hate relationship with this card. It's look at top 5, add 1 Machine of Cyborg to your hand, trash 1, place the rest on top of the deck in any order. And then the delay, I should have it up here for you guys to read as well. Delay is reduce the next play cost of a Machine or Cyborg by 3. Well, you play it with that effect specifically. That does matter depending on what you're playing against. Big thing there, this Machine Dramon normally plays for 12. You gain 5 memory, so it plays for 7, but with Supreme Connection, it plays for 4. It's really powerful. If you have enough memory, you can go Machine Dramon into Chaos Dramon into Chaos X in 1 turn, which is insane. 3 Attack of the Heavy. I've always at minimum of 2, but I'm not upset seeing 3. It gives all of your Cyborg and Machine Digimon rush, or well, sorry, all your level 6 Cyborg and Machine Digimon rush, and also Blitz if they have a Digi-Evolution card. So you can play this and swing, you know, whether for game or swing over something if you're assembling it with Metal Greymon. But another big thing here is combo with Supreme Connection and Attack of the Heavy. Mega Gargo Ace plays for 4, and if you have enough memory, he can just play for 4 and swing twice, which is actually insane. 3 defense training, because yeah, we do Digivolve a lot in this deck, and then 3 analog man. Machine Dramon, ladies and gentlemen, fear them. Oh, how could I gloss over this? How'd y'all let me gloss over this? 3 Hover Espimon sitting here to say, hey Leviamon, I know you might pop my analog man, but if you don't pop my analog man, you cannot touch my Hover Espimon. Straight up, Hover Espimon is just straight unaffected by deletion effects if there is a tamer in play. Leviamon doesn't play tamers, as we saw, but you play tamers. So with Hover Espimon and a tamer in play, it's just saying, all right, cool. Until you get rid of Analog Man, you can't do with Hover Espimon. Gargomon is, I love Gargomon. It's a blocker. It has the ability on play and when Digivolving, you trash a card, Machine or Cyborg, and then you can't be deleted by your opponent's effects till the end of the turn. And then it has Reboot as an inheritable. So it's super nice to build a stack off of, especially if you go like Kukumon, Gargomon, and then you're level 5, because now you have a blocker and reboot inheritable, because we did notice that there are no blocker reboot inheritables in the level 5 lineup here. So that's super important to notice. The blocker and reboot are all coming from the low end. So definitely a much more stack based deck, unless we need to hard drop that Machine Dramon. But to be honest, I'm not upset Digivolving into this and then Chaos Dramon and then Chaos X, just to get my DP reduction prevention. The only thing that I'm going to get absolutely screwed by is a Chaos deck or an Anjumon. You know, that's how I feel with this deck. Congrats, Alex, on 9th place with Machine Dramon. Moving on, we've got 4 more lists left. First off, we've got 12th place Josfer with Magnamon Armors. Magnamon Armors, that's right. Magnamon Armors. 5 eggs in this deck. So we've got the new movie Vmon, which is just so insanely good. It reduced, when it would Digivolve into a free trait if you have a tamer, reduce Digivolution cost by 1. Spoiler, all of your armors, in this case your Magnamons, are all 3 to Digivolve on the Vmon. So they're costing 2. Digivolving for 3 from a Vmon was already really good because, you know, it's an armor Digievolution. He's a Royal Knight, so he's already like just powerful. But Digivolving for 2 is really good. It has the one attacking, which is not once per turn. If it has 2 or more colors, draw 1, which is also really good. We got Jamming Vmon, because you can't run a Armor Rush deck without Jamming Vmon, now can you? 4 Ukomon, because why wouldn't you run Ukomon? 2 of the free searching Vmon, which does search out these. It does not search out this Magna X because this is a vaccine type, not free. But then you do have this Vmon, which gives you the end of turn DNA, which is not applicable in this deck because it doesn't run Shakumon. But the on plays, you also add an Imperial Dramon or free trait and a Davis. We run the both old Davis, search for blue and green, as well as the promo movie Davis, that if you have a free trait, you gain a memory start of main, and then you may play a Vmon from your hand. You mainly use this to play your Vmon from hand. You play that, you get to play out a Vmon. Any one of these are really good. You've got 14 total options, and then you just plus from there. And then obviously Louis, because why wouldn't you run Ukomon, Louis, and all of this? Like, Armor Rush, definitely a very good deck here. Full Moon Meteor Impact as our removal option of choice. 2 Heaven's Judgment, because, I already talked about how this card gets absolutely abused by our new BT16 Magnamon X. And just jump on the train right now, right? And then Awakening of the Golden Knight, which lets you Digivolve. But the important thing here is that you can't have your DP reduced by your opponent's card effects. So against some decks, very important. Against the mirror, very important. Against any deck that can utilize Heaven's Judgment, very important. Also prevents the Ruin Mode play against that particular Digimon for the turn, very important. Our ace options here, we got 2 Zero Ace and then 1 Garurumon Ace. Garuru Ace is interesting. I'm not saying it's bad. It's just interesting. It's a draw 1. Then if you have 5 or more, you trash 1. So you can trash armor if you feel that you want to buff up this Magnamon here, is what I would assume. But also just allows you to filter your hand a little bit more. But also when you add a card, it reads all turns once per turn. When one of your Digimon effects adds cards to your hand, one of your opponent's Digimon or teamers can't suspend till the end of the turn. So it essentially blocks them from attacking unless they're arrest their superior mode for some reason, or prevent a tamer from getting any of its effects by suspending. So really cool to see here. Magnamon armors. This deck is about to be a menace come BT16, ain't it? Congrats, Josfer. Correct me however I'm supposed to say your name. On 12th place armors. Next up, we've got 13th place Numemon, piloted by Jake. So we've got the 1 of Quantumon, 3 Platinum Numa. We've got 4 Manze X, 2 Waru Manzemon, and then the 4 Manzemon. So yeah, the Waru Manze is a play cost 7, so Congo does shut down your Manzemon, Waru Manzemon, but it doesn't shut down Manze X from swinging. Which is big because, I mean, you're going to be swinging your Manze X over your Manzemon anyways with Sec +1 with that inheritable. But we see that Jake has taken the text from Nicholas, who I think was 4th place at the Core TCG Regionals, with the Agumon X here, and this Agumon. Seems like this is catching on real quick, being able to search out your Numemon X antibody, your Manzemon X, also your Satsuki. Congrats, Jake, on 13th place with your Numemon list. Next up, we've got 14th place Ken with Shine Greymon. Now, what the hell is this? what is this a mistake or is this for real? I don't know why this is here. If this is a mistake, let me know what card this is supposed to be, because that damn sure does not seem right. This does not do anything for this deck at all. We've got the split of 2 burst mode, but also 2 ruin mode here. 2 BT2 Shine Gray, but 2 BT12 Shine Gray. This is a very practiced list. And this is why I say you can't discredit Oceania as a region. These players are out here playing just as much as we are. And this may look like that could only do well in Oceania. No, they're playing, bro. They're out here testing too. We got the 1 Magna Ace. He said, all right, screw it. I don't find that my Rise Grace giving me enough value. I'm gonna make you regret if you decide to swing while I got this level 4 and I got this Magnamon here in hand. Or even better, I'll just hard drop this. I get to recover 1, and then I'm just gonna go to a Shine Gray next turn. But it's a very interesting list because I'm not brave enough to just run 4 level 6s with 4 level 7s. That is like, holy hell. Of course, your burst mode doesn't take up the stack because you just burst, and then you get your level 6 back. But like, damn, I feel like I'd won at least 5, But Ken got 14th place with it. Ken, congrats on your 14th place, and please let me know what the hell is why is Bubbles here? Why is Bubbles here? And then last off, we've got 16th place Christian with Mirage Gaogamon. So we see that Mirage is already adapting. They're saying, damn, we're not getting our jamming. You know what? I'm going to run my Betamon so I can have jamming. They say, I'm just going to give up on my Gaomon line. I got Goma. I got Siakomon so that I can prevent my opponents, any of their trainings. And I've got my jamming on my Betamon. It's just so funny. Every time I see Betamon, I'm like, yeah, and y'all wanted Bukamon at 4. Y'all wilded for that. 2 Lanamon, because of course, you know, you're on 5 tamers. It does let you build on a tamer if you're whiffing on rookies here, because we do see there is only 10 rookies in this deck. Ikakumon's very interesting here. You trash 2 Digivolution cards from one of your opponent's Digimon, and then when attacking until the end of your opponent's turn, one of their Digimon with as many or fewer Digivolution cards can attack. And then the same, it has the same inheritable. So Ikakumon's super interesting here. I know I did see a comment. Shout out, if you haven't watched Risu's recap over this, you should watch Risu's recap over this. I saw the Mirage player comment and say he ran the Ikakumon big help in like Machine Dramon matchup for being able to strip Source, because otherwise Mirage really wouldn't be able to deal with it, which is super fair. Same thing with the Zudo Ace here, because Zudo Ace is also trashing Source. Source strip is, you know, Source Strip and Chaos Egg are Machine Dramon's biggest issues. We also see that he is running 6 total megas. 4, of course, are the good Mirage. 1 of the BT13, which is also good, especially if we're coming up against the likes of like Red Hybrid, because it bounces their tamers back to hand, so it's a tempo play. They have to then replay it. But also 1 of the BT4 Mirage gaogamon, which is super interesting because we saw, I think it was Zenitsu who ran this in his Mirage list. It basically can Digivolve for like 2 most times, if not 1, and then gives you a perfect line into a burst mode play. But we also see he's running Blitz Omni. He said, screw it. If I can't burst mode, I'm gonna just swing and then Blitz Omni, unsuspend swing for game. Big thing here, 3 Full Moon Meteor Impact. He said, I'm not messing with anybody today. If you even hit, I'm gonna bounce everything back to hand. If you hit this insecurity, I'm bouncing back to hand and I'm plussing off of it. You know, if you do this with this Mirage here, it's just insane. Because this already plays for 8. If your opponent's got 8 cards in hand, this is going to cost 6. But then this effectively is going to make it cost 4. 4 cost bounce to hand removal is just insanely good. So I can definitely see why you'd have 3 of these for sure. On 4 mental and 2 mem boost. And then of course, like I said, the 1 Bukamon on 5 eggs. I know I've seen people run 4 and sometimes even 3 eggs, with Bukamon being that 1 egg. Another thing Christian said in his comment was that he ran 5 eggs because he was tired of running out of eggs against Secon, which is how I would feel. That's why if I have the chance to run 5 eggs, I will, because in the event I come up against a Secon or a long grindy matchup, I want to make sure I have enough eggs. I've definitely ran out of eggs with like Fenry. It's like, damn, I wish I had 1 more egg. Anyways, congratulations to all of you top 16 in the Oceania region. You guys did an absolutely amazing job. I love being able to cover this. I'm sorry that this video is way longer than the last one, but that being said, I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Drop a like and drop a comment. Let me know what you think of these lists. Let me know what you're excited to try out for now that you see how the meta is shaping out, and also subscribe so that you know when future videos come out. Anyways, until we talk to you guys the next time, peace out.